Flannan Isles, Scotland, December 1900. The ocean hissed like a great beast exhaling. Waves struck the jagged cliffs of Eilean Mor with endless malice, and the sky above was low, pressing grey and weighty as wet wool. On this god-forsaken lump of rock, 3 men stood sentinel: James Ducat, the stoic principal keeper; Thomas Marshall, his second-in-command, who wrote in meticulous journals; and Donald MacArthur, the youngest, a former soldier with a temper like the sea. The lighthouse was a tall, pale tower, its great lights sweeping through the dark like an indifferent god. It was supposed to be salvation. Instead, it became their tomb. Day 1. The storm begins. Marshall sat by the logbook, the candle flame trembling in the draughty room. "Severe winds tonight," he wrote. "More violent than I've ever seen in 2 decades. Waves crashing so high they reach the windows. Ducat has barely spoken. He stares out to sea, murmuring something. Can't make it out." From outside, MacArthur's voice barked over the howling wind. "Something's out there." Marshall opened the door, icy spray blasting his face. MacArthur was pointing at the cliffs. "A shadow. I saw it just beyond the rocks. Tall, watching." "You saw mist, MacArthur. The mind plays tricks." "I know what I saw." MacArthur snapped, then softened. It was whispering. Day 2. Whispers. The storm worsened. The light kept going, but the men unravelled. Marshall wrote, "Ducat speaks in riddles now. Says he hears his name in the wind. MacArthur is shaking. Claims he saw the sea open last night. We've locked the door, though I don't recall why." Downstairs, Ducat sat stiff in the corner, his face pale as candle wax. "You don't listen," he whispered. "They're singing now. Under the waves, they want us to come below." The wind shrieked, not through the windows, from the walls. Day 3. Descent. Marshall's entries grew erratic, his once perfect script now scrawled and feverish. "I woke to find Ducat gone. No footprints, no coat. MacArthur says he walked straight into the sea with a smile. But the door was locked. I locked it. MacArthur is different now, his eyes blank. He asked me to help him build a cross from the table legs. Said we must leave it at the top of the tower so they know we belong." That night, Marshall heard singing, low, melodic, calling his name. He followed it to the top of the lighthouse. He found MacArthur standing on the edge of the tower, arms wide, staring at the black sea. "They're here," MacArthur said calmly. "We were never meant to leave this place." He jumped, or perhaps he was pulled. Marshall didn't sleep that night. Only wrote, "God is over all." Weeks later, arrival. When the relief boat Hesperus arrived on December 26th, the crew expected 3 men on the dock. There were none. Inside, the clock had stopped. The fire was cold, food was laid out untouched. The final log read only, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all." Outside, at the cliff's edge, they found a patch of strange markings. Not footprints, but deep, jagged gouges in the stone, as if something immense had clawed its way up from the waves. The keepers were never found. They say if you go to Eilean Mor today and the wind is just right, you can hear 3 voices whispering in the gale, calling your name. Smalls Lighthouse, Wales, 1801. A structure of timber and stone lashed to a jagged sea stack, alone in a boiling sea. Accessible only by boat, and barely that in foul weather. The keepers sent there were not chosen for their cheer, just for their endurance. This posting belonged to Thomas Howell, a stern, methodical man of few words, and Thomas Griffith, loud, impulsive, and hot-tempered. They despised each other. Fate made them partners. Isolation made them prisoners. Week 1, the cracking of silence. The sea groaned endlessly, battering the lighthouse like a thing with intent. "Eat your share," Griffith barked one morning. "Don't sulk 'cause I beat you at cards." Howell didn't answer. He watched the rain run down the small window, each drop a tick of a clock that seemed to go backward. "Don't stare like that," Griffith snapped. "You look like a corpse." A week passed without a word between them. Week 2, the accident, or something else. The storm came in screaming from the west. A beast with no face, only teeth. The tower shuddered under its assault. Above the roaring wind, a yell, then a crash. Griffith lay at the base of the spiral stairs, head twisted, one leg bent the wrong way. Howell stood above him, breath ragged. Later, when asked, he would say he fell, God's truth. There was no one to hear the truth or the lie. Week 3, the corpse companion. Griffith's body began to rot within days. The air thickened with the scent, sweet and metallic, like meat and salt and mould. Howell, grim-faced, dragged him out to the small outer landing and hammered together a crude coffin from spare boards and crates. But the wind was relentless. One night Howell woke to a bang. He staggered outside. The coffin had split open. Griffith's bloated body, twisted and green, stared up at him, mouth half open in what looked like a scream. One arm dangled free, flapping in the wind, smacking the window with sickening rhythm. Thump, thump, like a knocking, like a call. Week 4, madness. Howell boarded the window shut. He stuffed cloth in his ears. Still, he heard it. Tom, open the door. We never finished our game. He saw things in the mirror, Griffith's bloated face, dripping water, whispering behind his shoulder. At night he wept, clutching the oil lamp, muttering prayers. He didn't remember lighting the fire anymore, or when he last ate. The knocking never stopped. Thump, thump, thump. Month 2, rescue. When the relief boat finally broke through the storms, they found Howell in a near catatonic state. He had barricaded the lighthouse interior with furniture and boxes. He had scrawled, "He's watching," dozens of times in soot on the walls. On the outer deck lay what remained of Griffith, half consumed by gulls, his face strangely untouched, eyes wide and still watching the window. When Howell was pulled aboard, he whispered, barely audible. He wouldn't stop. He never blinked. He never spoke again. From then on, 2 keepers were no longer enough. By mandate, all future British lighthouse stations required at least 3 men, lest the sea claim one and madness claim the rest. Brittany, France, 1875. A desolate rock in the Eros Sea, Tevennec was small, barely enough room for the lighthouse that crowned it. The waters around it were treacherous, riddled with sharp reefs and submerged fangs that had devoured ships for centuries. Locals refused to go near it. They called it cursed. But the French government needed light on that coast, so they built one. A solitary stone tower, and they sent a keeper. His name was Henri Guézenec, and he would be the first of many, too many. Month 1, the whispers begin. Guézenec's first letters were cheerful. Weather harsh but manageable, reading Les Miserables again. I miss bread. Then his tone changed. I hear voices in the stones. Just whispers. I thought it was the sea. But they say things, my name. They ask questions I don't understand. I've nailed the pantry shut. Something was inside last night. It crawled. He requested to leave. His superiors laughed. Superstition, they said, fishermen's tales. Month 2, voices in the wall. He stopped writing. When they finally sent a boat to investigate, they found Guézenec slumped in a corner, eyes wide, rocking. The wall behind him had been scratched raw, deep gouges in the stone where he had written the same phrase over and over. Ils viennent de la mer. They come from the sea. He was removed, screaming. He was the first, but not the last. The years of madness, 1875 to 1897. Over 20 keepers were assigned to Tevennec in less than 2 decades. Each one fell to something. Madness, delirium, visions. One keeper tried to gouge his own eyes out. Another refused to sleep, claiming something walked in the hall at night, dragging chains made of seaweed. A married couple was sent, hoping companionship would help. The husband slit his own throat with a mirror shard. The wife went mute. Children who lived there drew pictures in charcoal, black shapes with no heads, rising from the waves, arms outstretched. One child was found trying to dig into the basement floor with her fingers, whispering, "He's beneath us. He speaks when I'm alone." Priests blessed the lighthouse. Candles wouldn't stay lit. The final keeper. In 1897, they say in Lesquanec, a devout man with no fear of spirits. He lasted 5 months. His journal was found tucked behind the bookshelf. Final entry. There are 3 voices now. One weeps, one sings, one mocks me in my mother's voice. They are beneath the stone. They want blood to remember. He vanished. The door was locked from the inside. No trace was ever found. After that, no man lived alone at Tevennec again. Modern day, the lighthouse now runs automatically. No one mans it, but boats passing near the rock report strange things. Radio static in the shape of voices. Sudden chill on the deck. One sailor, drunk in port, swore he saw a woman standing atop the tower, long hair in the wind, pointing down into the sea. Her mouth was open wide, but no sound came out. Fishermen still whisper. The sea took something at Tevennec long ago, and it remembers.